Ladies and gentlemen, the current monetary system is breaking down as we speak. And when monetary systems begin to crack and stress builds up underneath in the financial system, acts of desperation from governments, central bankers, policymakers usually follow after. So in this video, I want to walk you through a broader perspective, a big picture look about what's really going on and where we are in the monetary cycle. One that really goes beyond the short-term narratives and market movements and price action. And I really want to focus on something more structural, okay? And something more important. And that's basically the life cycle of monetary systems and where we are within that cycle today. This is extremely important because I don't think people really realize where we are in this cycle. Now, if we study history and look at the past, one thing becomes very clear. Every single monetary system eventually reaches a point where it breaks down. It happens over years, it breaks down, and then finally it's reset and a new system is introduced. Now, this is not a rare occurrence. It's happened many times before throughout history, and it's a reoccurring pattern that has actually played out across civilizations around the world for thousands of years, okay? And at the center of that pattern is always the same problem. It's the gradual erosion of the currency itself, which leads to the erosion of trust in the system and in the governments. And then eventually the system collapses and a new system is introduced. So no monetary system in history has lasted forever. And more importantly, none of them have failed overnight. It was a buildup of stress within the system before they failed immediately, okay? And we are currently on the same path. Slow erosion, rising debt, currency debasement, and eventually a reset. And that has historically the sequence of events that led to every monetary system reset. Now, before I continue, if you're looking for a more data-driven breakdown of financial markets, digital assets, the broader macro shifts behind this transition that we're seeing, and really my long-term positioning and my long-term thesis behind everything we're seeing, I go much deeper into that in my private group and my weekly report. If you're interested, you'll find the link in the description below. So, when we really step back and look at the big picture here and really evaluate and assess where we are today compared to previous eras, well, it's increasingly clear that we are certainly not at the beginning and we're certainly not in the middle of the monetary cycle. As a matter of fact, we're much closer to the end of it than people think. Now, just to be clear, that does not mean the system collapses tomorrow, although it could, but it does not mean that. And the reason is because these things build up over time. They don't happen overnight, and more signs will become visible over time as well. But what it does mean is today we're actually operating in the later stages of that monetary era. And that has been building for decades, for a long time, since 1971, when we went off the gold standard. Now, it's important to know that every monetary system has started off with disciplined monetary policy, and it worked in the beginning, often tied to some form of hard backing or constraint to keep governments in check, whether it's gold, limited credit expansion, or even stricter monetary policy that was in place when the system was first created. But over time, that discipline fades and governments become reckless. And governments expand spending, increase debt levels rise, and central banks begin to really accommodate that expansion and print more money and inject more liquidity into the system and debase the currency even further. Now, what starts off as a controlled system eventually transitions into one that increasingly is dependent on credit creation, debt expansion, and liquidity injections into the financial system just to keep the system artificially alive on life support. And that all involves more money printing and debasing the currency. So at first, that whole thing works. Growth continues, markets expand, people are surviving and getting by, and everything appears stable on the surface. And asset prices rise. And this is where most people fundamentally misunderstand what's actually happening. And this is so important because prices during this period aren't just rising because things are becoming more valuable or because of true value creation, whether it's in stocks, crypto, asset prices. But prices are going up because the currency used to measure them in is being destroyed and diluted because they're increasing the money supply over time. And as debt levels continue to grow and increase, the system becomes more dependent on intervention from policymakers. So as the debt levels accelerate, which they are today, more debt requires lower rates to refinance the debt, and that requires more liquidity. And eventually, more aggressive policy responses from central banks and more money printing just to prevent systemic collapse when the system breaks down. And it will break down because the more debt, the more leverage in the system, and eventually the bigger the contraction. And then the bigger the contraction, the bigger the intervention and policy response. And I believe that's what's coming in 2026. I talk more about that in my newsletter and in my private financial market intelligence group. But all of this eventually weakens the currency even more. And that's where we are today. So if we bring all of this into context today, the current global monetary system and everything happening, particularly around the dollar-based system that we have with the US dollar, we are basically following the same path that every system was following that eventually led to a systemic collapse and then a reset. And the foundation of all this actually began in the 20th century, 1913, when the Fed was set up. And the major turning point for that came in 1971, when Nixon removed us off the gold standard. That decision effectively removed the layer of discipline that basically kept governments in check. Because for every dollar they created, they needed to have gold backing it. They don't have that anymore. So this allowed them for unlimited money creation and debt expansion. So from there, the debt really began to accelerate. Then in 2008, we saw the introduction of quantitative easing and near zero interest rates, which is the first time in interest rate history of 4,000 years where we got to near zero interest rates. And we saw a scale that hadn't been seen before with money creation. That marked another turning point. Coincidentally, they launched Bitcoin too at that time. And we're calling for a new world reserve currency with Barack Obama and G20 leaders at the United Nations. That QE thing became a permanent feature of the system rather than a temporary tool. Quantitative easing, and they will do it again. And then in 2020, everything accelerated even further, even faster and harder. And the wealth gap continued to increase. We had the scale of money creation and fiscal expansion from reckless policy, which reached levels that were extraordinary, and the rich got richer and the poor got poorer. And all of that stabilized the system in the short term and gave people short-term relief and comfort. But it also accelerated us on the path of extreme currency debasement globally, worldwide. And that's going to continue because that happens at the end stages of a currency monetary cycle. And the interesting thing about all this happening, at the same time, while all this is happening, and while the current system is showing signs of strain and trouble building underneath it, we're seeing the rise and introduction of crypto, financial infrastructure, blockchain technology, digital assets, stablecoins, universal basic income, CBDC, research and development, and new payment rails and the new architecture for the new system. That's not coincidence. That was by design. And from an investment perspective, this is actually exactly where the greatest opportunities begin to emerge. It's during systemic structural shifts. And just to mention before I continue, if you're looking for a simple, straightforward way to gain exposure to crypto, digital assets in a strategic fashion, or even precious metals, whether that's buying, trading, selling, or rolling over a 401k, I've pointed many people towards iTrustCapital. They are a partner of mine, and I also am a customer myself. I use their products and services. It's a very user-friendly platform that offers a wide range of digital assets, and they're adding more, along with fully allocated gold and silver that you can request if you want for delivery. And on top of that, they just recently added support for Ripple's stablecoin, RLUSD. So if you're interested, I put the link in the description below. Do research on it, make sure it's right for you. If it is, great. If not, don't worry about it. But take a look into it because optionality is key. So based on everything I just said, all these innovations popping up and emerging at the exact moment and time frame when the system is dying and when the system is struggling to survive and requires more liquidity. That's not coincidence. So the upgrade for the system, the reset, is coming, okay? And it will make it more efficient, more scalable, whatever narrative they want to attach to it. But everything happening now is by design, and it's part of the systemic evolution as the old system dies and a new system's introduced. And this happens at the end stages of every monetary era. But this time we have the most advanced technology for this controlled demolition. But we will see debt expansion, money supply increasing, asset prices will continue to inflate, and eventually confidence will begin to weaken after people feel the pinch and they understand that it's their currency being devalued. It won't happen all at once, but it's gradual, it's a process, and people will start to feel on a global scale the loss of purchasing power, even people that are doing well. And the question of stability of the system will be in everybody's head. Now, we aren't there yet, but we're heading in that direction. And as this worsens, we could see extreme cases of the bond markets having problems, interest rates spiking, and the broader financial stability really beginning to collapse. And when that process runs its course, which we aren't there yet, but a reset becomes necessary and a new system becomes introduced because it's necessary to prevent a complete collapse, and they need to restore law and order. So this will probably happen before the system fully collapses because it's a controlled demolition. So the question becomes, what do you do with this information? Because there's a lot. This is important because it's just not about theory. This is actually happening, and it directly impacts how you protect and grow your wealth. So the reality of the situation is the strategies that have worked in early stages of the monetary era will not always work and be as effective as later stages of the monetary era. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because now it's time for people to think differently about how they invest and preserve and protect their wealth. So as the system evolves, it's important to think differently about how you invest and store value. Because historically, during these types of transitions, like what we're seeing today, capital tends to rotate and move towards assets that will carry their value throughout this transition and from the old system to the new system. That means real assets, tangible assets, scarce assets, and increasingly in this situation, digital assets and digital infrastructure that are aligned with the infrastructure and architecture of the next system in a tokenized world, because that's where we're going. Now, to be clear, that does not mean abandon everything else, but it does mean you have to be more strategic and be more intentional about how you position yourself through this period that we're living in and through this transition. And Don't just think that conventional wisdom is what you have to stick with, because based on everything happening today and the data, conventional wisdom is actually becoming more ineffective. So when you step back and really look at the big picture here, what we're seeing today is really a structural breakdown in the financial monetary system. This isn't just a typical market cycle alone without bigger changes happening underneath. A bigger part that is really playing into this whole transition is the structural changes in the monetary system because they're breaking down. And while the timing of a systemic breakdown is never exact, the pattern that we followed before to get to that point is repeating. That's playing out the same way. So again, what matters here is positioning intelligently and planning accordingly for what's coming, and invest based on that. And protect your portfolio, preserve your wealth.